Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So we'll start our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So we are on the third canto. Yesterday we completed the 21st chapter of this third canto. So we're discussing how when Vidura and Maitreya, their conversation is going on. So Viduraji asked about the creation of Brahmaji. In response to this, Maitreya Muni described the whole Sarga and Visarga and how Brahmaji created all the sages and the Kumaras and the Vedas, Upavedas and all the various things. And then after that he created Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. And then Swayambhuva Manu, when he went to Brahmaji and he said, I am ready to follow your orders, but the earth is missing. Where will I populate? Where will I put the living entities? So then Brahmaji, as he was meditating, was thinking, Varahadev appeared and he retrieved Mother Earth from the Garbhoda Ocean. And then Maitreya Muni continues the conversation and he describes about the Chakshusha Manvantar Varahadev also, that is called Neel Varaha. So this Varahadev fought with Hiranyaksha and also retrieved Mother Earth. So then when Vidura, he heard about this, he asked, why did Hiranyaksha fight with Varahadev? And then Maitreya Muni started the whole discussion that one time Diti, she approached Kashyapa at a wrong time, and although she was told by Kashyapa Muni that this is not the right time to procreate, but still she did not listen, and then they procreated. The two sons were born, and these two sons are Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Who are these two sons? Maitreya Muni described the story of how the Vijay, they were cursed by the four Kumaras, and they have taken birth as a Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And then we saw there is a whole description of the fight between the Hiranyaksha and Varahadev, which we discussed yesterday. And then again, after this fight was over, Varahadev went back to the spiritual world. And then Maitreya and Vidura continues the discussion. So in that, Shaunak Rishi, so the story is, the camera is shifting to Shaunak Rishi and Sut Goswami. Shaunak Rishi asks Sut Goswami, after this earth was put on its original position, what did Swayambhuva Manu do to show the path of liberation to all the living entities? The talks between Vidura and Maitreya must be filled with devotion because they were all pure devotees of the Lord. Please describe what else Vidura asked Maitreya. So then Sut Goswami continues the discussion. Vidurji, he asks Maitreya, please tell me about the creation, and creation by Brahma, creation by Lord, and then please describe about the Prajapatis, about Swayambhuva Manu and Marichi, And then in response to this, Maitreya Muni described the whole Sarga and Visarga again, the Karana Srishti and Karya Srishti again. We discussed that in detail yesterday. And then after describing this, Vidura, Maitreya Muni, he describes the story of Swayambhuva Manu and Kardama Muni and Devahuti in response to the question asked by Vidura. So Vidura asked Maitreya that how did Priyavrat and Uttanapad protect the earth with its 7 continents? Please describe about Devahuti, the famous daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. So in response to this, Maitreya Muni first described the marriage between Kardama Muni and Devahuti, and in further chapters and the cantos, he will describe about the other offsprings of Swayambhuva, that is Akuti and Prasuti, and the 2 sons Uttanapad and Priyavrat Maharaj. That will come in the 4th and the 5th cantos. So Kardama Muni's austerities are described. In response to that, Lord Vishnu appeared. Kardama Muni was instructed by Brahmaji that you procreate. So with the view of this, he did tapasya to get a wife. So when Lord Vishnu appeared, he asked for the wife. And also he asked that please give me your mercy so that I may be able to give up all these material attachments and attain you. So Lord Vishnu said that whatever you asked me is already granted. Day after tomorrow, Swayambhuva Manu will come with his daughter and he will give daughter to you. This Devahuti is very, very suitable for you. She has all the good qualities. She is a marriageable age. She is grown up. She will fulfill all your desires in your family life. And ultimately you will attain me also. Then as predicted, Swayambhuva Manu comes, and Manu, as he comes, Kardama Muni gets up, offers all the respects, and he glorifies Manu. That was the end of the 21st chapter. So today we'll be beginning from the 22nd chapter, that is the marriage between Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So in response to, after Swayambhuva Manu was welcomed by Kardama Muni, so now Kardama Muni starts speaking. So Kardama Muni speaks that you are the greatest of the Brahmana, and Brahmaji created you so that you can spread the words of the Vedas everywhere. And first of all, he said, I'm very embarrassed hearing all my glories, and therefore he started speaking, glorifying Kardama Muni. And he said, and we have been created for the protection of the Brahmanas. Just like the Lord created you to protect the Vedas, Lord has created us to protect the Brahmanas. So therefore Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas, they protect each other. And then he says, very interesting thing. Swayambhuva says, when I was coming here, I had so many questions in my mind. Just by meeting you, all my doubts are resolved. There's a story which comes in the life of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. One time, a great politician, Madan Mohan Malviya, he was a very spiritually inclined person. He was a very famous personality. He visited the mutt of Saraswati Thakur. He wanted to meet Saraswati Thakur. But Saraswati Thakur, he was a little busy. So he, he told some of his disciples to take care of, Madan Mohan Malviya. He said, actually, you go and ask these devotees, they will solve your doubts. Madan Mohan Malviya, he went to these people, these devotees, and these devotees, they were engaged in washing utensils. So the devotee said, we are too busy. If you help us with, washing these utensils, it will get over fast, and then we'll be able to, we'll be able to talk and answer your doubts. They did not know who is this Madan Mohan Malviya. And then this Madan Mohan Malviya, he was such a humble person. He sat down and he was washing the utensils for half an hour. Then after half an hour, when everything was done, then the devotees asked, yes, you had some question. Please tell me. So Madan Mohan Malviya said, no, all my doubts are answered. Just by serving, just by meeting you, just by serving here, all my doubts are answered. So therefore, Swayambhuva Manu is telling Kardama Muni, just by meeting you, all my doubts are resolved. Yesham samsvaranat pumsa sadyo shuddhyanti vaigrihat kim punar darshan sparsha pada shauchasanadibhi. Just by remembering the devotees of the Lord, sadyo shuddhyanti vaigrihat, the home becomes purified. What to speak of if somebody gets a chance to meet the devotees, darshan, have the darshan of the devotees, touch the lotus feet of the devotees, and wash the lotus feet of the devotees. How fortunate that is. Three things are very, very powerful in the process of bhakti. Bhakta pada duliye, bhakta pada jal, bhakta bhukta vasheshai, tina mahabal. The water which has washed the lotus feet of the devotees of the Lord, the dust from the feet of the devotees of the Lord, and the remnants of the devotees of the Lord. They are very, very powerful. So Swayambhu Manu is saying, all my doubts are resolved just by having your darshan. So that's the power of the devotees of the Lord. Then he says that, by the great fortune, there is a very, very rare opportunity. It is my great fortune that I have got a chance to have your darshan, have your rare association. By extreme fortune, I have got a chance to take the dust from your feet on my head. And you have given me so many good instructions. And I have listened to your words with open ears. So the word used is karna randhrai. So Prabhupada writes that, this karna randhrai is very important word. We have to hear from the devotees of the Lord, through the holes of our ears. We have to be attentive. When devotees, they are speaking, there is only one organ which is the most important. That is our ears. When we hear that sound vibration, it can purify all our contaminations. So in this verses, we can see a beautiful reciprocation going on between a renounced order of life and a householder order. The grihasthas and the renounced order. Both are showing the behavior very appropriate for that. So Swayambhu Manu, being a great powerful Kshatriya, he is not thinking, just like we discussed the first canto, that Shringi was saying, just see, these are like dogs, watchdogs. They are meant to stay at the door and they are coming inside. So Swayambhu Manu is giving all respects to, Kardamuni. He says, it is my great fortune that I have got your darshan. I have got a chance to hear from you. And Kardamuni also glorifies, because of you, we are able to maintain the religious principles. Because of you, we are, able to perform all these rituals nicely. So that is how a proper relationship between a grihastha and the renounced order. It makes the relationship very, very sweet. Otherwise, if both varnas, they are thinking, I was listening to one of the lectures of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So he was saying that if the renounced order is thinking, just see these materialists, they are so engrossed in sense gratification. They are all materialists. They are enjoying family life, and they are like, deep, dark well in that they have fallen down. Then that renunciation will also not last long. And if the grihasthas, the householders, they are thinking, just see these people, they are like parasites in the society. They are not doing anything. They are just surviving on our given donations. Their devotion will also not last long. So therefore, a proper relationship between a householder and the renounced order, it is required to help both of them to advance in Krishna consciousness. So that is the ideal varnashram, where everybody is recognizing others, others' contribution, and don't think, I am great, this person is of no use. So therefore, there was a discussion going on between some of the devotees and the temple devotees and the grihasthas. And the temple devotees, they were saying, just see these people, they are such a materialist. And there was one devotee who had some problem in maintaining brahmacharya. He was a sannyasi and he could not maintain his sannyas. So then he came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I am not comfortable in this sannyas order. I want to get married. But other devotees, they are saying, if you leave the sannyas order, it is a fall down. Prabhupada said, fall down from where? You are already fallen in this material world. from where will you fall down? You're already fallen, And he says, actually, sannyasis are not great devotees. A big devotee is Prabhupada said very wonderful thing. He said a big devotee is someone who is humbly and sincerely serving Krishna. That's a big devotee, not necessarily a sannyasi. Na ham vipro na chanarpati na pi vaishya na shudro na ham varni na chagrahpati na vanastho yatirva किंतु प्रोद्यन निखिल परमानंद पूर्णामृताब्धेर गोपी भर्तुर पदकमलयोर दास दासानुदासः. That is our actual identity. Not a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, sannyasi, vanprastha, grihastha, brahmachari. We are trying to become the servant of the devotees of the Lord. That should be our aspiration. Just by becoming a renounced order, nobody becomes a pure devotee, and just by becoming a grihastha, nobody becomes a fallen person. It is all depending on our consciousness. So the consciousness is more important. That is Krishna consciousness. So then Manu, he offers his daughter Devahuti to Kardam. He says that, please accept my daughter. So Chakravarti Thakur says that, just now Swayambhuvanu said that by having your darshan, all my suffering has been destroyed. But there is one suffering which is still there, which is very hard to remove. It is remaining in my heart. And what is that? My daughter is still unmarried. Please, you can remove that suffering also. You are like an ocean of mercy. You can remove this suffering. This, my daughter, she is a sister of Priyavrat and Uttanpad. So he wants to say that she is from a great family. She has two very, very powerful brothers. She is from a Kshatriya family. So Brahmana can marry a Kshatriya. A Brahmana boy can marry a Kshatriya girl. But a Kshatriya girl should not marry a Brahmana boy. That is a Viloma marriage. That is not proper. Then she says actually she is also seeking for a suitable husband in terms of age, character and qualities. And when she heard from Narad Muni about you, she fixed her mind on you. Just like we hear the Rukmini's episode, Rukmini was also attracted just by hearing the qualities of Krishna. So Pushrutya Mukundasya Rupa Virya Gunashriya Grihagatam Griyamane Tammene Sadrishimpati. Sa Upashrutya, when the sages would come and they would glorify Krishna in the assembly of the king Bhishmaka. So Rukmini Devi, she also heard. What she heard? Rupa, Virya, Guna and Shriya. She heard about the beauty of Krishna, the power of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna and the opulence of Krishna. And then she decided, Tam mene sadrishim pati shadi karungi to Krishna se hi. So that is what she decided. So Prabhupada writes that the purport of this is that a wife, and then actually Swayambhuvanu says that my daughter, she'll be a very suitable wife for you. She will help you in every aspect of your household duty. And Prabhupada writes a very nice purport. He says that, wife should not only be equal to her husband in age, character and qualities, but she must be helpful to him in his household duties. And what is the duty of a householder? Prabhupada writes, the duty of a householder is not just to satisfy senses, but to remain with the wife and children in a way that will enhance their spiritual life. And then Prabhupada describes who is a grihastha and who is a grihamedhi. Grihamedhi means his consciousness, his medha, his intelligence is completely focused on Atma, Jaya, Suta, Agar, Pashu, Dravin, Bandhu and Rajya. Body, wife, children, property, relatives, bank balance, all these things. Grihastha means one who has made Krishna as the center of his life. And then Swayambhuvanu says that you have not taken a vow of celibacy, perpetual celibacy, and you also want to get married. Chakravarti Thakur says that, Kardama Muni may say, how did you know the desire in my mind? Swayambhuvanu is telling to Kardama, you have decided to get married. Kardama Muni says, how did you know my desire? So Swayambhuvanu says, actually, I don't have to ask anybody. Actually, I have even heard this. Even Krishna, Lord Vishnu has come and he appeared before me and he told me personally this. So then after hearing all that, Kardam Muni says, yes, he accepts the proposal and he says, actually, whatever you're saying is correct. I have a desire to get a wife. And because Devahuti, your daughter, has not given word to anyone, she is still unmarried, I can accept her. And also because her desire is to get married, so who would reject a girl like Kardam Muni? Your daughter is full of all the beautiful qualities. Her bodily luster is excelling the beauty of her ornaments also. And then Kardam Muni also, he must have heard about the beauty of Devahuti also. So he says, I have heard that one time there was a Gandharva called Vishwavasu. So Vishwavasu was flying in his airplane in the sky. And Devahuti, because she was a princess, so princesses and all these royal ladies, they are not allowed to mix with the common people. And in general, any woman is not allowed to mix with the common people in the earlier days. So on the terrace of this palace, one day, Devahuti was playing with a ball. She was a very young lady, very young girl, 13, 14 years old maybe. So then Vishwavasu was a Gandharva. When he saw the beauty of Devahuti, he became stunned, So nobody can even imagine, We have seen beauty of this world, but, what happened to Vishwavasu is unimaginable. We cannot even imagine what is the beauty of Devahuti. So Vishwavasu, when he saw, he became stunned and he fell down from his airplane, So it is unimaginable. So the beauty which Devahuti had was unimaginable. So therefore, Kardam Muni says, I have heard about her beauty. Who will not accept the beautiful girl like Devahuti, who had all the good qualities? And actually, she is the ornament of womanhood. What wise man will not marry her? Chakravarti Thakur says that actually, she is the object of affection for you. She is the sister of Uttanpad. So who will not accept a lady, a girl like this? Such a high birth, such good qualities, good character, so beautiful, Who will not accept a girl like this? Who will refuse to marry a girl like this? Actually, Rukmini Devi also tells the same thing about Krishna. She is writing, who is that chaste girl who will not marry you? She says, Katvam Kundamahati Kulashila Rupa Vidya Vayo Dravin Dham Bhiratma Tulyam Dhirapati Kulavati Navrinita Kanya Kale Narasimha Naraloka Manobhiramam. So she's saying, who is that lady of marriageable age who is sober, having all the good qualities? Kulashila Rupa. Dhirapati, who is a sober lady, who will not marry you, O Krishna? You are excelling in your dynasty. You are from the best of the dynasty. You are having best of the character. You are gentle, modest. Vidya, Vayo, Dravina, Dhamabir. There is nobody greater than you in knowledge, in youthfulness, and Dhama, your abode. Only you are equal to yourself. So as Rukmini Devi is glorifying Krishna, Kardam is glorifying Devahuti. He is saying, Arey, who will not marry Devahuti? But then Kardam Muni shows his actual, heart's feeling. So when somebody hears all these glorifications, you think, Arey, Kardam Muni is like an ordinary materialist, glorifying the beauty of a woman as if he is attracted to her. Then Kardam Muni says a very interesting thing. But there is one condition. I'll stay with her in the Grihastha ashram only till she produces an offspring. After I give offsprings to Devahuti, I'll accept renounced order life. So, this is a very interesting thing. On one side, he's glorifying Devahuti as if he is so much attached to Devahuti, and then he says that I will take the renounced order as soon as she gives birth to child. So that shows the innate desire of a devotee. Externally, a devotee may be engaged in so many material things of this world, maintaining family, children, occupation, so many worldly things. It may seem that I have become pounds and shillings man. दिन भर यही सब कर रहा हूं मैं. But in the heart, a devotee is always fixed on his goal. By all these tapasya, what do I want? I want to fix my mind on lotus feet of Krishna. So therefore, that is Prabhupada writes. This is the actual. This should be the actual consciousness of a devotee. Every devotee should be having a plan so that after some time in the household life, he should be detached. He may not be able to detach physically, but he should be detached mentally. He should focus on Krishna. That is very contrary to what is happening in today's world. One time Prabhupada met a very old person. He was playing a golf. And then Prabhupada asked, so what do you do? He said, I am a retired man. I am spending my days playing this golf. Oh, so then Prabhupada had a good talk with him. Prabhupada passed by and then said, just see. Whole life he has spent in maintaining family, and now the remaining time which he has, he is engaging that time in putting a ball in a hole. So that is what Prabhupada writes here, that the family life should not go until the last breath of our life. One may remain in the family, but we should not be in the family. We should not be of the family. Consciousness should be, I want to make my life perfect and help others. So then Swayambhu Muni says, but your father's order was procreation, not renunciation. You are telling that you will renounce? So Kardamuni says, actually, the highest authority for me is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the origin of Prajapatis, even Brahmaji. And he has given me assurance that I will be renounced from this family life. So then, after hearing all this conversation, so ultimately, Swayambhu Manu, he offered his daughter. Devahuti, she was already captivated by the smile of Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni, why he was smiling? He was not smiling looking at the beauty of Devahuti. But Prabhupada writes in a different way and Chakravarti Thakur writes in a different way. Prabhupada writes that this is a quality of a devotee. Although externally he was getting married, but Kardamuni was meditating on the mind, on the Supreme Lord's lotus feet in the mind. That's what the verse says. Kardamuni smiled and he was meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Prabhupada writes a very nice purport. He says, it appears that Kardamuni was fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Because as soon as he became silent, he at once began to think of the lotus feet of the Lord. So therefore, Kardamuni was so very attractive that even the smile of Kardamuni was attracting Devahuti. And therefore Prabhupada writes, that is a quality of a Krishna conscious person. Even a smile of such person is so attractive that simply by smiling he wins so many admirers, disciples and followers. So one time, Prabhupada, he was having a conference with all the reporters, newspaper reporters, and he was eating oranges. And there was a dustbin which was kept a little far distance. So as he was eating oranges, seeds were coming in his mouth, and as he was speaking also, and in between he would say "Phu," so Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was describing all that, and in between he would spit. So one of the reporters, he was just constantly looking at that seed, because all the seeds were falling properly exactly in the trash can. And this person was like just looking like this, oh, maybe this also, and he was so absorbed. He did not even listen what Prabhupada was saying. He was just enamored by this action of Prabhupada. And he became interested. He started coming regularly. He became devotee. So that is how a devotee, whatever he does, it is attractive. So that is what Prabhupada writes. Because the pure devotees are so very absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna, whatever they do attracts people. Therefore, if we hear the disciples, Prabhupada disciples, memories, their pastimes with Prabhupada, they would speak simple things that attracted their hearts. So that is the quality of a pure devotee. Prabhupada writes in a different way. Chakravarti Thakur writes in a different way. Chakravarti Thakur writes that, actually the mind of Kardam Muni was also attracted by the smiling face of Devahuti. And from this, Manu and his wife, they did not feel the regret, because they thought, they were not lamenting, thinking that they had given a daughter to such a renounced person, we will not take care of our daughter. So they could see that Kardam Muni is smiling because he is looking at our daughter. That means he is also attached to her. So that is a different understanding Chakravarti Thakur gives. So then after this, Shatarupa and Devahuti, they were both inclined towards Kardam. So Swayambhuva Manu married Devahuti to Kardam Muni. And then in dowry, and dowry is existing since that time, but that dowry was voluntary. So Shatarupa, who was the empress of the whole Bhumandala, she gave so many ornaments and the jewels and the silken cloths and household articles to her daughter. And then Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, with a very heavy heart, they were crying tears, and Swayambhuva Manu embraced Devahuti, and he was saying, "Oh my daughter, oh mother," So Prabhupada writes mother. Sometimes the father calls daughter also as mother. So then after all these things, Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa left for their kingdom. Their capital was Barhishmati. Barhishmati was very, very opulent. And then the further chapter describes the opulent condition of the capital of Swayambhuva Manu and the devotion of Swayambhuva Manu. So Swayambhuva Manu was such a devoted king that this Barhishmati, from where the Barhishmati name came, when Lord Varahadev had appeared, so one of his hairs had fallen in this land, and that hair became Kusha grass. That's what we use, Kusha grass. So that Kusha is the hair of Varahadev. That's why it is very purifying. So Swayambhuva Manu was ruling this kingdom so very nicely. The fame of Swayambhuva Manu was spreading all over the world. He would worship Lord Krishna, he would worship Lord Vishnu sitting on this Kusha grass, and he was taking care of the citizens very nicely. He was such a devoted king that every day in the morning he would hear Harikatha. That's why Vidura, we heard in the 13th chapter also, Vidura asked, Charitam tasya rajarse adi rajasya sattamaha bruhi me shraddhadanasya vishwaksenashrayo hyasau. So Vidura is telling to Maitreya, please tell me about the glorious qualities of Swayambhuva Manu, Adiraj. Adiraj means the first king, because he was a Vishwaksen Ashraya, because he was a great devotee of the Lord. He had taken shelter of Krishna. So please tell me about Swayambhuva Manu. So therefore the description here is coming that Swayambhuva Manu was such a great king that he would hear Harikatha every morning. Although he had all the opulences, because he was a king of the whole Bhumandala, but his consciousness was not degraded by material enjoyment. He was very, very pure because he was completely absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. We hear the same about Yudhishthir Maharaj also. Yudhishthir Maharaj, although he was the emperor of entire Bhumandala, but still his mind was completely absorbed in Krishna. Apipalan dharma raja pitrivyat ranjayan praja nispriya sarva kamebhyo Krishna padanu sevaya. So Krishna padanu sevaya, because he was absorbed in Krishna's service, he was not attracted by the material enjoyment of this world. Similarly, Swayambhuva Manu, because he was such a great devoted king, he was not attracted by the opulence and the material pleasures of this world. Although he was the great mystic yogi, he had all the opulences, he has all the mystic yogas, but still he was not attached to these things. Prabhupada writes that Krishna consciousness does not stop a person in their prosperous material life. people should think that, oh, if I'll become devotee of Krishna, I'll have to live in a simple way and I will not be able to enjoy. But just see, Swayambhuva Manu was enjoying life very nicely. But all this enjoyment was not attracting his mind. He was not captivated by this material enjoyment because he was completely absorbed in chanting the names of the Lord. So in our day-to-day activities, we may be doing so many things of this world. We may be dealing with money and all the material energy of this world. But if every morning, if we bathe our consciousness thoroughly with the holy names of the Lord by properly chanting and hearing, reading Bhagavatam, then the material contamination of this world will not affect us. Therefore, in the Ishopanishad, it is described, Lord is Shuddham and Apapavidham. Lord is pure, antiseptic and prophylactic. That is what Prabhupada translates. Prophylactic means when we take that medicine of holy name, then we become immune from all the material infection. So that's what Swayambhuva Manu was doing. Although his life was very long, he was living for 71 yuga cycles. But still, his whole life was absorbed in hearing, chanting, contemplating, and writing about the Lord's pastimes. It did not go in vain. Otherwise, what is the use of long lives? We heard in the second canto. All the sages are saying, what is the use of long life? Just see the trees. They are living for thousands of years. What is the use? Tarva kimna jivanti, bhastra kimna swashantyuta, nakhadanti namehanti, kim grame pashavopare. What is the use of a long life like tree? What is the use of breathing like the bellows of a blacksmith? What is the use of living and procreating and eating like the animals? Animals are also doing that. So life should be used for serving the Supreme Lord, hearing about Lord, chanting the glories of the Lord. Otherwise, with every rising and setting of the sun, life is decreasing. One time, there was one person called Bob Cohen. He came to Prabhupada and he was in search of spirituality. He had become vegetarian. So when he met Prabhupada, so this is the person, his conversation with Srila Prabhupada is in the form of a book called Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. So in this conversation, one day, he was very proud of being a vegetarian. So he went to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, I am a vegetarian. Prabhupada said, what is the big deal in being a vegetarian? Even pigeons are vegetarian. Even monkeys are vegetarian. But what are they doing with that? They are just, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. What is the use of life like this? Life should be used for developing Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada writes a very interesting thing here. He says that, fresh food is tasty, but when the food becomes stale, it does not taste good. Similarly, this material existence, as long as it is fresh, this life, till the time we are young, we can enjoy. But at the fag end of our life, there is no taste. All the enjoyment becomes tasteless. Everything appears vain and painful. But Swayambhuva Manu, although he had such a huge, long life, he was always young. All his senses were perfectly proper. So that is the glory of a devotee. Just like Dhruv Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes, the life of a man in Krishna consciousness is always fresh. So Dhruv Maharaj was also given a benediction by Lord Vishnu that he will rule this world for 35,000 years. All your senses will be perfectly young. You will not become old. And then it is described that Maitreya Muni says that therefore there is no misery for a devotee. Devotee is not troubled by the things of this world. Now uttama shloka vartanam dishutam tat kathamritam sat sambhramonta kalepi smartam tat padambujam. For a devotee, there is no misery. There is no confusion even at the time of death. And then Maitreya Muni in the last describes that this Swayambhuva Manu, he taught so many diverse teachings for the human society, for different varnas and ashramas. And then he says, I have spoken you about the beautiful character of Swayambhuva Manu. Now Please hear about Devahuti. So then Maitreya Muni starts the description of Devahuti. So this is 23rd chapter. So 23rd chapter is entitled as Devahuti's Lamentation. So now Maitreya Muni is describing how Devahuti, when she was married to Karda Muni, how nicely she was serving her husband. So this Devahuti was a very chaste wife. She was serving the husbands according to his desires. She was constantly engaged in serving Karda Muni with love and affection, just like Bhavani was serving Lord Shiva. And then so many beautiful qualities of Devahuti are described. Vishrambhena atma shauchena gauravena damena cha shushrushaya swauridena vacha madhuraya cha bho. Vishrambhena means Devahuti was serving Karda Muni with great respect and intimacy. Gauravena damena cha, with controlling her senses. She was very, very focused, not getting distracted. And then Shushrushaya Sauridena Vacha Madhuraya Chabho. He was serving Karda Muni with loving and sweet words. So Prabhupada writes that actually Vishrambhena means with great intimacy. So the intimacy should not bring familiarity. And as it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. And then he says actually that, in the Vedic civilization, the wife cannot call the husband by her name, but in the present civilization, it happens like that, but Vedic civilization was not like that. So these qualities which Devahuti was showing, these are the qualities which a disciple should show towards his or her spiritual master. How one should serve spiritual master? With great intimacy, great respect, with loving and sweet words. Visajya kamam dambham cha dvesham lobham aghammadam apramattodyatya nityam tejiyasa matoshayat. Visrijya, she gave up all lust. Visajya kamam dambham cha, all pride. Dvesham, all envy. Lobha, greed. Agham, all the sinful activities. Madam, all vanity. Apramattodyatya nityam, working very nicely and diligently, she served her very powerful husband. So this is how we have to serve the devotees of the Lord, serve the spiritual master. Because if the spiritual masters are pleased, if the devotees are pleased, then we will develop that taste for Krishna consciousness. As it will be described further, how Devahuti, she achieved everything just by serving her powerful husband. Karda Muni was such a powerful husband. He was such a great devotee of the Lord that just by serving Karda Muni, Devahuti achieved everything. So it is described by Maitreya that Devahuti, in this way, she served Karda Muni for a long time. Many years went by. So she was not taking care of the body. Now it is described how beautiful she was. And we have to understand that Karda Muni, Swayambhuva Manu, was the king of the whole world. He got married his daughter to a sage. Why would a king send his daughter in a forest to live with a sage? Because those times, the kings and all the Rajarshis, they knew the power of the devotion to the Supreme Lord. That's why they were very happy. So Devahuti, she was serving in this way for a long, long time. In this way, she was not taking care of the body. She grew very weak and emaciated. And seeing that, and actually she expected blessings from Karda Muni. So seeing her condition, after many years, Karda Muni became very compassionate. He became very, very, merciful towards Devahuti. And she says, and Karda Muni says that, I am very pleased with you. You have served me in such a wonderful way without caring for your own body. This body is very, very dear to everyone, but you have served me without caring for your body. I am very pleased with you. I will give you all the blessings. Whatever I have attained from the Lord through my austerity, through my meditation, and through my Krishna consciousness, I shall offer to you. This is this is how, if the devotees are pleased, if the spiritual master is pleased, then whatever tomara sevaya dukkha hoye jataseo to parama sukha. If we take troubles in serving Krishna, if Krishna is pleased, if the devotees are pleased, then they will impart all their mercy, they will shower their blessings. And that is what we want. Otherwise, what is the use of all this chanting and hearing and all these if devotees are not happy, if Krishna is not happy? So therefore, service transforms knowledge into realization. When we serve the devotees of the Lord, then this knowledge which we are hearing becomes the realization. We get mercy of the Lord. Durapahil tapasa seva vaikuntha vartmasu yatropagiyate nityam deva devo janardana. If we are not serving the devotees of the Lord, it is very, very rare opportunity. When devotees, they show mercy when they are pleased by the service of ours, then they will impart their mercy. And then life is successful. Otherwise, it is a very, very rare opportunity. To get the service of the devotees is the rarest of the rare opportunity which one can have. So therefore, Kardamuni is saying, I will give you Krishna consciousness also. I will give you freedom from lamentation. I will give you fearlessness. And Prabhupada writes, by the grace of Kardamuni, actually Devahuti also experienced Krishna consciousness. She also became a great liberated soul just by serving. And Prabhupada gives the example of Narad Muni also. Narad Muni, he was serving the great Bhaktivedantists. He also became liberated. He also became pure just by serving the devotees. Uchishtalepan anumodito dvijai. Just by taking the remnants of these devotees who are speaking Krishna Katha. Sakrit smpunje tadapasta kilvishay. Evam pravrittasya vishuddha chetasas tadharma evatma ruchi prajayate. Narad Muni was serving them, hearing the Krishna Katha which they were speaking very humbly. And he also became pure devotee. He also achieved the ruchi. Ruchi means the highest stage, the attraction for Krishna. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, for spiritual advancement, the easiest path is, this is the easiest path, to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master and serve him with great respect, with the heart and soul. This is the secret of success. What is the secret of success? To serve the spiritual master with love and respect from heart and soul. And then Kardamuni says, I will offer you the gifts which are rarely attained by anyone. What is the use of all the enjoyments of this world? The real gift is the gift of Lord's grace. All material enjoyments will be destroyed in due course of time, but the mercy of the Lord is the eternal gift which one can have. So Devahuti, when she heard all this, she became very happy and satisfied. But she was, she became a little shy, and in a bashful way, her voice was choked with tears. And she told Kardamuni, actually, please fulfill. I'm very grateful to you. I'm very happy serving you. But you have given one promise to my father that you will give me children. Please give me a child. Because bearing a child makes a woman very, very chaste. So then, after this, she says that actually, my body is very emaciated. Please make my body fit so that I can unite with you, and please arrange a house for me so that I can stay. So Kardamuni, he was so very powerful that when he heard all these requests from Devahuti, he immediately created a huge aerial mansion, as you can see in the slide. He created a huge aerial mansion. And what was the characteristics of the aerial mansion? It is described. This huge aerial mansion was bedecked with all sorts of jewels, and these were all Chintamani. They would fulfill all the desires. And then they were decorated with flags and festoons and various colors. These pillars and this whole palaces were filled with so many different jewels. The whole palace compound was filled with lakes and gardens. This is all in the plain, na? Sab plain mein hi ho raha hai. With lakes and gardens and with beautiful charming flowers, and bumblebees are humming around. And the rooms, all the rooms in these palaces, they were having all the luxurious things which were there. They were bedecked with, all the tapestries were of silk and linen and other fabrics. There were artistic gravings on the walls, and the floor was bedecked with emerald, and the doors were bedecked with diamonds. So all these things are there. This is all created by Kardam Muni by his mystic power. In the there was a garden. In the garden, all the beautiful birds were there, were chirping. The swans, the pigeons, the peacocks, and the different flowering plants were there. So therefore, actually, when Kardam Muni he saw all these things, he also was astonished, by seeing his own creation. So then after that, even though Devahuti, she saw all this, she was not so much happy, because she was still feeling, I am not suitable to enjoy. I'll not be able to enjoy with Kardam, with my husband in this body. I am so very emaciated. He will not be able to enjoy. Kardam Muni understood the desire of Devahuti, and he told Devahuti, look, there is a Bindu Sarovar, because Kardam Muni was staying near Bindu Sarovar. So he told that you go, you take bath in this Bindu Sarovar, and all your desires will be fulfilled. So then Devahuti, she entered this lake. All her hairs were matted. She would live in the palace. She is the princess of the whole Bhumandala. Now she's staying in the forest. Matted hairs, emaciated body, dirty clothes. In this way, she entered the lake. In the lake, she saw there were 1,000 Gandharva ladies. They were there residing. And all of them told, we are your servants. We are ready to serve you. Please engage me in your service. Engage us in your service. They all gave a bath to Devahuti, and they put all the fragrant oils and different things on the body of Devahuti. Devahuti became she regained all her youth. She became as she was when she came to, get married to Kardam Muni. And these ladies, they gave all the beautiful clothes and all the nourishing food and beverages to eat and drink. And when she saw in the mirror, she was completely beautiful. And when she got this body, she remembered her husband. And as soon as she remembered her husband, she went to the place where Kardam Muni was. And then Kardam Muni, he put all these ladies along with the Devahuti on this aerial mansion. And then before uniting, Kardam Muni took Devahuti on this travel of the whole universe, whole Bhumandala. There is one very important verse, Maitreya Muni says, that although Kardam Muni was doing so many things, it looks like he was completely attached to his wife, but still, Kardam did not lose the glory of a self-controlled man. He was like a moon surrounded by many stars. So therefore, as a devotee, his heart is always fixed in Krishna consciousness. Even if he is doing all the mundane things of this world, but still, his mind will be fixed in Krishna. And tests will come, problems will come in life, happiness also will come in life. As Prabhupada said, Krishna tested me twice. First by taking away everything from me, and secondly by giving everything to me. So devotee is not shaken in any of these situations. He is completely fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Because when the devotional service arises in the heart, automatically renunciation comes from heart. Bhakti paresha anubhavo virakti anyatra chaishatra eka kalaha prapadyamanasya yadhashnatasyu tushti pushti kshutapayo nughasam. So when somebody performs devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, automatically virakti comes automatically one experiences the Supreme Lord. Just like when somebody eats food, with every morsel of the food, one gets nourished, hunger decreases, and one becomes satisfied. Krishna pad padabgand je jan pai, brahma loka adi sukh tare nahi bhai. If somebody is attached to the lotus feet of Krishna, if somebody has experienced the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord, Brahma Loka Adi Sukha Tare Nahi Bhai. None of the pleasures of this world will attract him. The mother of Raghunath Das Goswami and father of Raghunath Das Goswami, they are talking, because Raghunath Das Goswami, he would always run from his home. He wanted to go to Jagannath Puri to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So mother of Raghunath Das Goswami, she is telling to father, Putra Batul Hila Iha Rakha Bandhiya. Are son has become mad, pagal ho gaya hai, bandh ke rakho isko. Tara pita kahe tare nirvinna hoiya. Father was also sad. He told, Indra Samaishware Stri Apsara Sam Aisab Bandhite Nari Leka Yaraman. Are he had wealth of Indra. His daughter, his wife is as beautiful as Apsara. If all these things could not bind him, what will a rope do? Chaitanya Chandrera Kripa Hayya Che Ihare Chaitanya Chandrera Batul Keraki Te Pare. He has received the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Who can keep the madman of Lord Chaitanya? So therefore, if our mind and consciousness is fixed in the lotus feet of the Lord, even if we may be absorbed in doing all the worldly things, we may be externally pounds and shillings men, but our heart will be full of Krishna consciousness. That is the whole goal, and that will happen when we put all the efforts in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. When we chant the holy names of the Lord, this Hare Krishna mantra, with all hearts, with all our devotion, with all our endeavors, putting all our sincerity, seriousness, then this will also happen. So Kardam Muni, he's traveling with Devahuti in this huge aerial mansion. This aerial mansion would fly at the will of Kardam Muni. There was no pilot. Chalo petrol khatam ho gaya, petrol dalo. Kaise kaun hai flight pilot kidhar hai? No petrol, no pilot. Just by the will, this whole mansion, it would fly. So using this mansion, he went all over the Bhumandala. He went to visit the various valleys of the Mount Meru and all the celestial gardens. They were enjoying in Vaishrambhaka, Shurasana, Nandana, Pushpabhadraka, Chaitraratha, Manasa Sarovar. And in this way, Kardam Muni enjoyed for a long time. 100 years passed by like this. The plain of Kardam Muni was so very wonderful that even Devatas were astonished to see this plain. It was superior even to the plains of Devatas. Then, Maitreya Muni speaks very wonderful thing. He says, Kim durapadanam tesham pumsam uddama chetasam yayarashritat tirthapado charano vyasanatyayah. Kim durapadanam tesham. What is difficult to achieve? Pumsam uddama chetasam. For determined men. What kind of determined men? Yair ashritaha tirthpada. Those people who have taken the refuge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet. Their determination is so much that they can achieve anything in this world. Charano vyasanatyayah. Because the lotus feet of the Lord is the desire fulfilling tree. It is so sacred, it is like Ganga, which puts an end to all the dangers of the material world. So therefore, it implies that Kardam Muni, he achieved so much power, not because he was a mystic yogi, but he was a devotee of the Lord. When Srila Prabhupada, he came to India after establishing all this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So one businessman, he was talking to Prabhupada and he said, Swamiji, do you show some miracles? He said, yes. He said, oh, what type of miracles you show? Prabhupada told him, I went to America with 40 rupees and I came back with 40 crores. And businessman said, wow, that is amazing. So he was talking in Hindi. He said, Swami ji, aapne ye sab kaise kiya? So he wanted to get some, business tricks. कैसे हुआ है 40 रुपए का 40 करोड़ कैसे हो गया? Prabhupada said, हम गया, is Prabhupada's Hindi, Bengali accent वाला Hindi. He said, हम गया, उधर गार्डन में पेड़ के नीचे बैठा, कीर्तन किया, सब हो गया. नहीं स्वामी जी और क्या किया? और वहां पे कीर्तन किया, करताल बजाया, भजन गाया, सब हो गया. So he was not able to understand, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? पुंसाम किम दुरापादनम तेषाम. What is difficult for devotee to achieve? In 12 years, Prabhupada did, which is unimaginable task. Every day, 12 to 4, he would translate Srimad Bhagavatam, give his purports. Then he would take a walk and then Mangalarti, then giving a Bhagavatam class and then attending meeting so many devotees and the guests and going to so many places. He would reply to every letter written by all the disciples from all over the world. Unimaginable, At the age of 80, at the age of 70, he went to America. Kim durapadanam tesham. What is difficult for a determined person who has surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord? As Prabhupada would say, Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao se mate, kasthera putli hare nachao se mate. Make me dance. Make me dance, my Lord, make me dance as you want. That is the Uddama Chetasam. If you are not determined to please Krishna, will not get Krishna. Prabhupada has shown such amazing determination. At the age of 70, he could do so much. Even at that age, the disciples of Prabhupada who were in their 20s, they would have tough time matching with the pace of Prabhupada. So it is very, very important to be determined. In one of the purports, Prabhupada writes, that is in the first canto, 3rd chapter, 44th verse purport, Prabhupada writes, what is the secret of success? He says, what is the secret of rapt attention? Because he says, unless one is very, very attentive in the process of Krishna consciousness, he cannot be successful. What is the secret of rapt attention? He says, no one can give rapt attention who is not pure in the mind. No one can be pure in the mind who is not pure in action. No one can be pure in the action who is not pure in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So Prabhupada boils down everything to these 4 basic things, So as devotees, we have to have that determination, So then after this, Kardamuni, after showing all the Bhumandala and all this variegatedness to Devhuti, he came back to his ashram. And then Kardamuni, he divided himself into 9 parts. He became 9, And in this way, he enjoyed with Devahuti and he procreated 9 beautiful daughters from Devahuti. So then after that, Kardam had fulfilled his promise of impregnating Devahuti. So now he had given promise he had asked Swayambhu, I'll leave. As soon as I give child to Devahuti, I'll renounce. So then he wanted to leave his home for his actual concern, spiritual realization. So as Kardamuni is going, Devahuti becomes disturbed. Seeing that now husband is leaving, she was very pained, but she's smiling. She's trying to control her tears, She started to speak. She said, Oh my Lord, you have fulfilled all my desires. You have fulfilled your promise, but you have fulfilled your promise of giving me children, but you told me one more thing. I'll give you fearlessness. You have not bestowed fearlessness to me. And then she said, actually, after you go to forest, all the daughters will get married. I'm not worried about daughters getting married. They will get married. Who will give me solace? Indirectly, she's asking for a son, But Kardamuni may say, but by your clever words, do you want me to stay more in the material life? In shyness, Devahuti replies, actually, I have wasted my life in, in for so many years. I have wasted my life in this material enjoyment. I do not want you to stay with me for material pleasure. I want you to stay with me so that I can cultivate this knowledge of the Supreme Lord. I did not know your greatness. I was associating with you for my personal material sense gratification. I did not know how great you are. I was just attached to sense pleasure. So now I have come to my senses. So therefore now Devahuti is giving a very, very strong message. She's saying one should never take the association of devotees for granted. One should never take the association of devotees lightly. Because when the association of devotees will go away, then we will understand what we have lost. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Ramananda Rai, Dukkha madhye kona dukkha hoy gurutar. Of all the distresses in the world, which is the biggest distress? What Ramananda Rai says? Krishna bhakta viraha vina dukkha nahi dekhi par. There is only one distress. To be bereft of the association of devotees. That is the greatest distress. So Devahuti is now glorifying the association of devotees. Sangoya samsriter hetu asatsu vihito dhiya saeva sadhu shukrito nisangatvaya kalpate. So she says, association of materialists, even done in ignorance, is a cause of bondage. If you associate with a materialist person, even in ignorance, you will get bound. Similarly, if you associate with devotees in ignorance, you will get liberation. Even if you don't know the glorious qualities of a devotee, still if you associate with devotees, you will get liberated. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanak kavayo vidu saeva sadhu shukrito mokshadwaram apavratam. Prasangam ajaram pasham. If people in this world, they are attached to things of this world, they will get all the more bound. If the same attachment is done for devotees, mokshadwaram apavratam, it will open the doors of liberation. So association of devotee is the most essential thing in Krishna consciousness. Raghunath Das Goswami, he's saying, when Rup Sanatan, all the other Goswamis, they left, he's saying, Shunyayate mahagoshtam girindro vajgarayate vyagratundayate kundam jivatu rahitasya me. He's saying, in separation from Rupa Goswami, all this Vrindavan is like a ghostly haunted place. Girindro Ajgarayate, this mountain Govardhan is like an open mouth, gaping mouth of a python. Vyagratundayate kundam, and this Radha Kund is like the mouth of a tiger. Why? Go jivatu rahitasya me. Rupa Goswami is gone, all the Goswamis are gone, association is gone. That is how the association of devotees is so very powerful. And then she says a very beautiful verse. She says, Nehayat karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tirtha pada sevaya jivan napi mritopisa. If your karma does not lead to dharma, if your dharma does not lead to renunciation, if the renunciation does not lead to Vaishnava seva, jivan napi mritopisa, it is like living corpse. So therefore, she says that, oh my Lord, I have been solidly cheated by Maya. I took your association very lightly. The same association could have opened the path of liberation for me, but I did not take that association properly. I just enjoyed my senses. So similarly, Maya Devi will tell all of us that these devotees will always be available. Relax, take their association later. Enjoy now. This enjoyment will not come again. That's how Maya, they will keep on cheating us, keep on giving us temptations every day. Prabhupada writes in the purport, material achievement is actually no achievement. Because as soon as one is illusioned by material gifts, he becomes more and more entangled. One should be intelligent enough to know how to utilize material assets for spiritual realization. So this is the end of the 23rd chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. If anybody has any questions, they can ask. Okay, so we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.